Hey YouTube, how's it going? This is Josue. Thank you for watching Conversations Abroad with my brother from another mother, Matos, all the way from Mozambique, Africa. Be sure to subscribe to his channel so you can watch more great content and hit that notification button so when he posts something new, you know all about it. You can find me at YourFitnessNJ on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook. Have a good one. God bless.
Hello everyone, welcome to a new Conversations Abroad. It's been a while, close to a month, that we got to record and put something out on YouTube, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to prepare and make sure that this next episode we have a treat. So we have someone that has done a mission trip all the way to, I want to say, Tsukuba, Japan. His name is Justin Canavan. He went to Japan in 2014 with Chi Alpha. He was part of an internship of about 6 weeks. And without further ado, Justin Canavan, thank you for coming on to another Conversations Abroad.
Hello, thank you so much for having me today.
No problem. It's actually a privilege, and I really do admire the content that you're putting out there. Quick question. So what, I know you have experience, it's your passion to use social media video. What is your vision, your goal into seeing maybe using social media and all that good stuff?
Yeah. Well, first off, you were exactly right with 2014. I went for 6 weeks, but I also served there for 1 year, from 2016 to 2017, with the same church that I'm working with in Japan on a church planting team. And so my job is doing social media, doing video, and I also serve with Chi Alpha, still with Chi Alpha, and youth, and anything that needs to be done really on the church planting team. But when it comes to media and social media, it works really well with Japan, because Japan is one of the most technologically advanced and media savvy cultures in the world, and everyone has a device in their hands, and people don't come to church. It's not a normal thing for someone to enter a church building. And so we feel, my team and I feel like we need to go to them. And if they have a device in their hands, guess what? We should be on those devices. And so we're always experimenting. Facebook is definitely something for internationals, but not for Japanese. Japanese don't use Facebook. Most Japanese don't use Facebook. So they use Instagram, TikTok, hit the whoa, and Line and Twitch for those gamers out there. And so we're just experimenting. Honestly, we just try things and see if it sticks, and like, okay, that worked. Let's try more of that. And so the vision is to get the gospel message in front of more people, and then also disciple them in a way that will bring more opportunity for more disciple making, and more disciple making, and then more disciples, then more disciple making, and it keeps going, which is the biblical concept. Make disciples that can make disciples that can make disciples, and it keeps going on.
Oh yeah, and that seems like that Chi Alpha DNA that you have in there. Are you stationed at a university, or are you working with in the headquarters in Springfield, Missouri?
So for me, I'm an Assemblies of God World Missionary to Tsukuba, Japan, and I'm positioned on a church planting team, and then we, out of the church, focus on university ministry at the University of Tsukuba, which is it's been called the MIT of Asia, because so many people have advanced degrees. It is the science university of all of Asia, and it is also Tsukuba is the science university. Or science, I said that. It is the science city of Japan.
Wow.
Like, we have robots walking down the street. Like, it's crazy. JAXA, which is kind of like the NASA of Japan, is in our city. You have rockets launching. We are using everything we can, and we are based out of the church, but we do go on campus and do English Bible studies and stuff like that.
That's awesome. And yeah, a little bit further in this conversation, we're going to be talking more about your location and more about that area.
Yeah.
But I'd like to ask, how close are you towards your budget? I'm using this platform to not promote myself. I just want to promote and give a voice to other missionaries as well, because I believe in vision, and vision, that's where the people would like to support. So how close? I know you're 100% in cash, and I believe you said 30 more supporters to monthly supporters.
Yeah, so you're exactly right. I'm a little over 100% on my cash budget, but AGWM, Assemblies of God World Missions, suggests being about 25% above, and so it has a little bit of cushion just in case there's attrition within the first year to 2 years of going back as a fully appointed missionary. On my monthly budget, I've hit 75% as of yesterday, so it's about 31 more partners at 50 a month is what it takes to get me back to Japan. So it's so very close.
And that's about like what, $1,000 in monthly commitments that you need?
Yeah, it's about $1,500 in monthly commitments. Yeah.
Is it very expensive to live over there?
Yes, it is. It is one of the most expensive countries when it comes to cost of living in the world. But Tsukuba is not as expensive as Tokyo. Tokyo, you're gonna find yourself eating out a ton just because of where you are and the tightness of space, and you're gonna also be traveling by train and bus a lot. In Tsukuba, it's like a suburb of Tokyo, 45 minutes by train from Tokyo to Tsukuba. Essentially, we drive a lot and then we make a lot of our own food, so which cuts down on the cost of living for sure.
And I'm just going to throw this curveball at you. Is it true that the highway toll to get into Tokyo is ridiculously expensive, like $100 just to get in?
So, okay, if you're doing a highway, it was 25, $30.
Okay. Wow. Still
just
pretty
one
expensive.
Way.
Yeah. Still pretty expensive.
One way though. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see.
So if you're coming back and you're driving on the main highway, yeah, you're going to spend 25, 30 US dollars. And then coming back, so total of $60 to $70, and then you add gas into that. So it would cost about $100 to get from Tsukuba to Tokyo. That's why you definitely take a train, because it's going to cost a little less, $15.
Yeah, like I said, just a weird thing, just one of those weird facts that's stuck in my head. Will you be tell us about your assignment with the Tsukuba International Church. Are you just working with one church, or are you working with a multitude of churches? Is there like a national church? If you could give us more details into that'd be great.
Yeah. So my main assignment is working on a church planting team based out of Tsukuba, Japan, and at our international church, working with Chi Alpha Youth Ministry and Media Ministry. But the goal is to plant 20 churches along the Tsukuba Express line, which is a train line with 20 stops from Tsukuba to Tokyo. And the reason why this makes a lot of sense, everyone uses the train line. Mm-hmm. And so just like in the U.S., if you plant churches along a highway, a main highway or a main street, depending on your city or town, you're more likely to have people at least seeing it. And if you're promoting something, an event or coming, it's very visible. And so it's very easy to get from the train line too. And so we feel God's called us to plant those 20 churches. Now, the other part of this vision, when it comes to my personal goal and my personal calling, is to create resources and training for pastors and churches throughout Japan, so more people in Japan have the opportunity to come to know Jesus. And so there's a lot of free things like we're doing right now, like this type of interview and stuff like that. Churches can use that.
Absolutely.
Use opportunities. And so the thing we run into with a lot of churches in Japan, it's a very technologically advanced culture. The church is not technologically advanced in any way.
That is very surprising.
Yeah, it is. But on the other hand, they take the traditionalism from Buddhism and put that into Christianity when it comes to how a church operates. And so a lot of things are not technologically advanced. Now, this season is forcing a lot of churches to reconsider that, so while it's a difficult thing, this stay-at-home season, COVID-19, is difficult. It's not good. But on the other hand, God is using it. God is using it for his glory. In fact, I got a text message from one of our leaders at Tsukuba International Christian Assembly. He works with Chi Alpha college students at the university. He said, hey, we started a Zoom meeting for concentrating on young adults and university students. The response has been overwhelming.
Wow.
We have so many people joining us, which is not something normal in Japan. That doesn't happen. But this digital platform in the stay-at-home season is providing an opportunity where people are searching for connection, and Zoom has been an incredible way of doing that. And so I'm excited to see what's next.
That's awesome. And how's the hierarchy like within the churches? I know it's an international church, so it might be a missionary from the United States that was planted in Japan, but just a general consensus, like, are there a lot of young pastors? Are there a lot of older pastors? How is that type of field like?
So the majority of pastors are between the ages of 60 and 80 years old in Japan. And there are actually pastors that are above 100 years old.
Wow.
That simply cannot retire because there's no one to replace them. And then we have this crisis that's happening when it comes to the amount of churches we have in Japan and the amount of pastors we have in Japan. We don't have enough, and we don't have enough coming through Central Bible College in Tokyo. We have Central Bible College in Tokyo. And there, I think Shelley Carl, one of our missionaries there in Tokyo, Japan, she told me recently in a recent interview that there was, I think it was 7 people enrolled.
Wow.
So with the age of pastors in Japan and the amount of pastors being trained in ministry to go to the churches in Japan, we're looking down the line, okay, when people pass away, what's going to happen? We only have, 20 at the most pastors coming through, and look how many pastors are at this age. 20 years down the road, we're not going to have enough pastors. We're going to have to close churches unless something happens. And God will build his church. It's God's kingdom and God's church, and it will happen. But we also have to put action to our faith. And so what we're doing in some instances, Chris Carter, my missionary team leader, church planting team leader, he's part of training through Skype and Zoom meetings for kind of like a district training ground online for pastors. And so that's one. But on the other hand, we are praying and calling out for missionaries to come. We're actually praying for 200 missionaries to Japan right now. Wow. Which is an impossible prayer. But guess who he's? The God of the impossible. He can make the impossible possible, right? Oh, and so we're praying that prayer, and God's already starting to answer that. We have, I think it's a total of 11 people on our team right now, and 8 people have been called within the last 2 years that have come from the United States and come to Japan on a short-term internship, and then God called them to come back fully appointed as missionaries.
That is awesome.
And so I'm going to take this opportunity real quick, if it's okay with you, to challenge anyone that's listening to dare to ask God, are you calling me to be a missionary to Japan? Are you calling me to be a missionary to another country? But I'm praying for Japan because that's my country, that's my calling. Maybe God's calling you to be a missionary. Dare to ask God, and then listen and do whatever he says to do. You can find out more at CanavaninJapan.com/join.
There you go.
There's your plug.
There's your plug, and I'm really glad you did that. And you might be afraid. But short-term mission trips, you could. What's the shortest term that someone could go onto a trip?
Yeah, you can go for a week, but we don't suggest that because there's multiple reasons. The plane ticket alone, it's coming from the United States, especially. You're going to be spending between $1,200 to $2,000 on a plane ticket. Sometimes you can get it for $600, $700, depending on the time of year. But the plane ticket alone is a lot of money. And then what you run into, it's you're going to be. It's about a 12-hour difference in time. So you're within the first 3 days alone, you're just trying to fight jet lag. And so I think if you're there only for a week, you're fighting jet lag 3 days, and then you leave after 3 days, and then you're coming back.
Yeah.
And so it's not enough. And so we actually suggest at least 3 weeks.
Okay.
3 to 6 weeks is what we suggest, maybe during a summertime for a student or college student. But we've had Chi Alpha teams that come out for 2 weeks. So it just depends on what people are looking to do. Now, we also have opportunities for 3 months, 6 months, a year, or a lifetime. So whatever God's calling you to do, be open to it. And yeah, you can just contact us, and we're totally open to whatever time frame that you're able to.
Absolutely, and I do hope someone it reaches someone. Maybe they felt the call to go to Japan, and I'm praying that God gives you that confirmation to send them out, and you'll be in good hands. Canavan,
like
he'll help you. Yeah, he'll help you. What is the biggest issue in Japan, and how does the church try to help? For example, over here in Mozambique, poverty, that's a huge issue, and we try to fight with having compassion, and we have such a wide embrace of Christianity here because people are receptive to listen because they're not distracted. They don't really have that much hope, I guess you want for tomorrow. And so from your eyes, what's that biggest challenge that you guys try to meet, that physical need where you could supplement it as far as the spiritual need?
Yeah. Well, in Japan, it's a little different when it comes to physical need. First off, it's a first world country. Mm-hmm. They have everything we have. When it comes to, there's some homelessness and stuff, but not really. It's mostly a spiritual need that we're running into, and an emotional need that we're running into. So for one, less than 1% know Jesus in Japan, and which means out of 127 million people, 125.5 million people do not know Jesus. Mm-hmm. And most people have never even had the opportunity to hear the gospel message preached. So that's our first priority. We're just trying to get it in their heart language, in Japanese, in context, through their culture, to that person, to that one person that needs the opportunity to hear the gospel message preached, and that hope that the gospel brings. And so that brings us to the emotional need. Suicides are actually down a ton, but because of a bullying that happens to people who don't practice Buddhism and Shinto, people won't even consider Christianity because as a Christian, you cannot bow to Buddha. You cannot practice Shinto. And so for someone, a Japanese person, to even consider becoming a Christian, what you run into is they have to look at this social context of, if I become a Christian and stop practicing Buddhism and Shinto, I'm going to get bullied and I'm going to be dishonoring my culture, because the culture says I need to bow to Buddha to be a good Japanese person. And so if you're not bowing to Buddha, you're not a good person. And so we had 2 Japanese men that gave their lives to Jesus in December at our international church, which doesn't happen in Japan. 2 people on one Sunday morning, 2 Japanese men. It doesn't happen. 1 person every 10 years is the average. So for 2 Japanese people to give their lives to Jesus, that's incredible. But what that meant for them was simply they were giving up their social context, their honor in this honor group society where everything's about doing what's good for your community. And if you're not bowing to Buddha, you're dishonoring your community. And so for them, it meant that they are going to get bullied, that they will probably lose their good place in society, they'll lose their friends, and they will oftentimes lose their family's honor. Very,
very interesting. How do you encourage someone that's looking from the outside into reaching such a closed off nation? I assume they're not very talkative. They're not going to hug you like different cultures. They're not very embracive, and probably to even get a conversation is going to be very difficult. And like you said, the country's less than 1% is Christian. So we already know that it's going to be very difficult to approach someone. So what are certain ways that you found success? Of course, God and the Holy Spirit is powerful enough to touch someone's lives. But the Bible also said to be wise as serpents as well. So through your eyes, what worked for you guys?
Well, what worked for us is, for one, listening a whole lot more than we talk.
Wow.
When we go into a culture like Japan, everything's about the person that's been there the longest. That's who you honor. The person who's been there the longest and the oldest person in the room is the one that gets listened to, not the person that's most qualified in Japan. So first off, as a missionary coming in, and I've been back and forth since 2014, I have to depend, and I need to depend on those that have been there longer than me. And so our deacons and our board at the church and the missionaries, Chris and Lindsay Carter, they've been there and earned the right to be heard. So for one, that's the biggest thing. The second thing is we are in the Science City of Asia, so we do science experiments to help illustrate gospel points. We light things on fire. We do all types of things like that. We have a telescope that BGMC, Boys and Girls Missionary Challenge, bought for us, and from Alaska. They bought for us this telescope, humongous meter in diameter telescope, and the PhDs of the university come out, and we do hold star parties. And there's some challenges in that with weather and stuff like that, but we've seen that super successful. Trying stuff like worship rock concerts. Japanese people love good music. And so we'll hold worship rock concerts where it's just really good music. And then we're doing worship. So we pray the presence of God and Spirit of God is there. And guess what happens? People start feeling the presence of God and Spirit of God. And at the end of service, we say, we do this every single Sunday morning. You should come back tomorrow. And so that provides a relationship opportunity, which provides a gospel ministry opportunity where they hear the gospel message. And most likely, they're not going to accept the gospel message right away, because what it means for them is they are going to lose their family and they're going to lose their honor if they become a Christian. So what they'll do, though, oftentimes is say something like, guess what? We are here and we love this. We love what you're doing. We love this community, so we're coming back. We're not sure about Jesus and we're not sure about this, what you're teaching, but we love this community, so we're coming back. And so we bring them in the community, and then in the opportunity of relationship and community, slowly but surely, they feel the presence of God and they hear the gospel message preached. And over time, people like those two Japanese men give their lives to Jesus because of these relationship opportunities. Some of the other things are stuff like free ice cream on the college campus. Everyone loves free stuff. College students love free stuff. If you say free ice cream on a college campus, people come. We do Chi Alpha game nights, board games, relationship opportunities. We do elementary school English camps. So like Vacation Bible School, teaching English, and every good Japanese person wants their kids to learn English because they'll have a better place in society. And as a result, guess what? They'll have a more honorable place in the future. And so they're like, oh, you're going to help us teach our kids Japanese so we become good community members instead of not good community members because we don't bow to Buddha. And so it provides that group relationship opportunity. And then again, guess what? Sunday morning, we're like, hey, we're going to have your kids perform the songs that they're learning and the memory verses that they're learning. We want to honor you and your family. So here's a plaque we want to give you and your family. And so the grandparents and parents come to this Sunday morning where they hear the gospel message presented. And more times than not, we see people coming in.
Yeah. If you could give us your plug-in, your Facebook, YouTube, IG, it's all yours. The floor is yours.
So we would love to have you guys come and be a part of the journey and find out more about what God's doing in Japan, especially with my church planting team. You can find out more at CanavaninJapan.com or on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Canavan in Japan. You can hit the whoa with us as we reach out to the never reached of Japan with the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Awesome, Justin. Thank you very much. TikTok, man. I'm too old. I can't get into TikTok. And I just want to say thank you for joining us on our platform. And I just love your enthusiasm. I know it's God. I know it's Jesus bubbling inside you. And I know you're going to bless a lot of people when you're over there. So that's why it's so important that whoever wants to look and support his mission, that you go and go to his social media and contact him. And I know you'll be doing a lot of stuff over there. So thank you once again for coming aboard.
Thank you so much for having me. And we'll have to do this again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, we're going to do part 2. We're going to have him here again. So make sure and hopefully we'll do a lot more in the future, and we'll see that journey as you progress.
Arigatou gozaimashita.
I love it. All right. Thank you. Thank you for watching another episode of Conversations Abroad. If you want to see our previous episodes, you could click on the thumbnail. If you want to see future content on what we provide, you could click on the subscribe button, hit the bell for further notification. Thank you for watching.